Hello and welcome to this free mandolin lesson aimed at advanced players, and we're going to talk about what I think is one of the most advanced techniques on the mandolin, and that is double stop tremolos. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, hopefully at the end of this lesson we'll have something that sounds a bit like this. Everything we talk about in this lesson is included in a free PDF which is linked below, although this is mainly a visual lesson, but there are some exercises that will come in useful later on. Firstly, this is not a lesson in how to tremolo. I have done a different video on how to do the normal tremolo, the one string tremolo. That is linked below, so if you can't tremolo, don't try and sprint first. Have a little walk and try that other video. But for advanced players who are comfortable tremoloing, this is a tricky technique and there's no way around that. I have 3 tips I want to show you in this lesson to hopefully make yours sound a little nicer, and let's get started. Number 1, stay relaxed. I mean, this applies to normal tremolo. I said I wasn't going to mention it, but it applies to all mandolin, especially tremolo. If you were to try and play this, if I stay in normal position and completely tense up this arm, it will not sound nice at all. Because what will happen is you'll have if you've got a tense hand, your pick will hit one string and then twang into the next string and pause and then twang into the next one. So you'll have da-da, da-da, da-da constantly. You'll have that sound constantly with a tense wrist. If you stay relaxed, and allow that plectrum to flex in your hand, allow it to move, the edges that get taken off both strings, and it's harder for the ear to hear where each one starts. So it now sounds like both are being hit at the same time. So that tense wrist is not going to do you any favours. And when you're playing it, if it goes wrong, do not tense up. If it goes wrong, go the other way. Go more relaxed. That's the only way to master the tremolo, especially double stop tremolos. Number 2 is to free up that wrist. So normally when we're playing tremolo, the wrist is in its normal position where it would play melody, touching back here. When I go to double stop tremolos, I like to almost pretend I'm playing chords and release that wrist from there. You've still got the touch point back here, but the wrist is a lot freer. And that, for me, allows me the reach that I can get. Because if I'm stuck here, it's quite hard to get my wrist up and down to get both strings. It's doable. And this is not necessarily something you have to do. It just, for me, helps. It helps me stay relaxed. And just makes the tremolo sound nicer. So don't be afraid to free that wrist of where it normally is. Tip number 3 is where you're actually hitting the strings. If you were to watch the best mandolin players, main example is Mike Compton, some of the old Monroe style players. When they do double stop tremolos, they're not actually here. They go all the way up here to pretty much the 12th fret. There's 2 reasons for that. The first one is how sort of loose being a very ill-judged word, the strings are at the 12th fret. You've got right here at the bridge, your strings are pretty hard to play, and the further away you get from the bridge, the more relaxed the strings are. So up here, you meet less resistance than you do back here. So there's that, and then second of all, it also sounds really nice. Again, it's just a case of softening those edges of each note, rather than you can sort of hear each string being hit back here. So that, again, just like number 2, it's not a set rule. You can tremolo back here, no problem. But it really does help if you can sort of move your arm, so you're very free with where that arm is moving in this technique. So those are the 3 tips I want you to take away. Relaxation is everything. Free that wrist up and allow yourself to move around the neck and try where you like to hear it. It doesn't have to be down here. It can be in a normal position. Let's now try that over a few patterns. So we'll start with some double stops just over G and then sort of moving up diatonically. So we've got G and B. Try keep tremoloing all the way through this. So we've got the first one, and it moves up to A and C, and down to B and D, and then finishing on C and E. And then back down, C and E. See, notice where I'm playing it here, wrist is free. And then try exactly the same thing on the higher strings. So you've got D and F sharp, E and G, F sharp and A, G and B, and then back down, G and B. And then in your own time, try it on other strings. And try that, just sort of try some double stops moving around the neck. Just get used to the feeling of tremoloing all the time. Next, let's break up that tremolo, so you have to play some melody notes in between, sort of similar kind of pattern. So something like this. And then finally. So that's how it sounds. Let's try it again. And notice my wrist is constantly doing this. Back here for the melody. And then up here for the tremolo. And then now let's start doing it over some arpeggios. So this time tremolo first. So down here. And by the way, it's the hardest place to do it is including the G string, because you've got 2 fat strings that you've got to try and include. So. So this is essentially just messing around on a G arpeggio, you'd call this. And similar on a C arpeggio just to finish. So these are not set in stone exercises, they're just giving you some of the ideas you can work on. Just take any of your normal scales and write your own, just anything to practice that. Moving that tremolo around, keeping relaxed while you do it. It's such a cool sound when you get it right. It's not always going to go right, and just remember that and stay relaxed about it. Just to finish, let's put it in a bit of context with that tune that I played right at the start, which is based off the lesson I did last month, which is Dirty Old Town, originally by Ewan McCall, but made famous by the Pogues. It's a simple little melody, but let's try some double stop tremolos over it. I'll overdub a guitar, and I'll stick the metronome on to keep me in time. The tab's all written out below, so just have a play through, and let's just dive straight in. It'll be after 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. That's everything I wanted to talk about with double stop tremolos. There's no escaping that it's a difficult technique. You could even hear in some of those Dirty Old Town double stops. I didn't quite catch them all, but that's part of doing it. I'm not an expert in them, but I know I'm reliable enough because I know that it's going to go wrong, so I stay relaxed. That's all I can say. I want you to take away is that how relaxed you need to stay. I hope you've enjoyed it. We do these free lessons every month. We'll be doing another Double Stop Tremolo tune next time. So please hit like and subscribe while you're here. Sign up to the mailing list at mandomike.com, and we'll see you next month.